Hi there. Welcome back to Professor Snyder's, that's me, Music Biz News. There's been 3 major industry events that's happened recently that are connected. Universal Music Group bought CDBaby and other indie music companies. Spotify signed a new AI agreement with the 3 major record labels. And there was an announcement by the majors and Spotify about a new digital data exchange, DDEX, standard in music that will contain AI information. Each of these events can be connected and each would take up a whole podcast. So I'm going to do 3 podcasts, a series of 3, one for each event and how they're connected. And part 1 has to do with indie washing. Being an indie in the music world has always been a badge of honor for musicians and record labels. It's always represented freedom from and an alternative to the big corporate music companies like Universal and Warner and Sony. It's like the rebellion versus the empire in Star Wars, major labels and corporations being the empire. And for many artists and independent labels, platforms like CDBaby represented something more than distribution tools. They symbolize an alternative path, a way to participate in the global music economy without relying on the infrastructure of the major label system. The indies gain market share every year, and the majors are fighting back the only way they can: consolidation. Now, if you're an indie artist distributing through CDBaby, your music infrastructure is now a subsidiary, UMG's version to acquire Downtown Music, CDBaby Song Trust. Many of you have probably heard of CDBaby or even use it, and it has 2 million artists. It's always been an independent music monetization and distribution service for indie musicians. They help do-it-yourself artists monetize their music through streaming, downloads, vinyl and CD sales, video monetization, sync licensing, and publishing royalties through its partnership with Songtrust. Songtrust represents publishing for 445,000 songwriters. It's a global music rights management software platform. And though you might be familiar with CDBaby, you might not have heard about Downtown Music. Downtown Music Holdings has long positioned itself as a champion of the independent music ecosystem. For years, these tools formed part of a growing infrastructure designed to empower independent musicians. Artists could release music globally, collect publishing royalties, and manage their rights without the traditional gatekeeping structures of the major labels. Downtown collectively serves over 5,000 business clients and more than 4 million creators in 145 countries. Today, the company has core divisions across artist and label services, distribution, music publishing that represents the publishing rights for several artists like John Lennon and Yoko Ono and Miles Davis, John Prine, and Wu-Tang Clan. EdRev is a digital content and rights monetization service on YouTube, Facebook, and other online video platforms. EdRev is a YouTube partner company initially designed to help creators and music rights holders monetize their work with ad placements on other channels using their content. And Fuga, F-U-G-A, is a B2B tech and music service company. It provides music distribution and marketing services to labels and management teams around the world. And Universal Music Group also previously, not too long ago, bought another indie label group called Pias, P-I-A-S. So UMG's $775 million acquisition of Downtown Music, which includes all these companies that I just mentioned, means 2 of the biggest indie distribution platforms now sit under major label ownership. They're not independent anymore. And UMG isn't the only label. Of course, they want to control access to the market, and the 2 other majors, Sony and Warner, are also buying up music businesses in key markets. With far fewer options, many labels and artists are going to be shut out. In other words, they're calling it indie washing. UMG now owns this ecosystem, gives UMG control over distribution, publishing, and label services that power countless independents. And whether you view this as a consolidation or as expanded services, which is what UMG says, the structural reality is the same. Fewer independent options. An indie label distributing through Fuga is now sharing operational data with a platform owned by their biggest competitor. Impala is a trade body of European independent labels, stated that Impala has consistently called on regulators to take action against UMG's juggernaut strategy of serial acquisitions to gatekeep market access and exert power over digital services, as well as control a whole host of essential services across the music market, from publishing to recording, distribution, and royalty accounting. They wrote, "This threatens music fans as well as independent artists and labels." And the bigger concern is that distribution and performance data from indie users are now in the hands of and controlled by the same parent company that they've been competing with. The same company negotiating streaming economics now represents both major label artists and independent artists. So what's the effect of this? So far, everything has remained the same. No big changes. But comments like the following causes great concern about what will happen to indies. Tony Van Even of Disc Makers said, Grange, who is the head of Universal Music Group, once referred to aggregators like CDBaby and DistroKid as merchants of garbage, which is not exactly glowing respect for the companies that he just had UMG buy. And if you're using CDBaby and this bums you out and now you want to leave because it's controlled by UMG, you need to think twice. When your distributor is owned by a company that also signs, promotes competing artists, the relationship changes, even if day-to-day operations remain the same, which is sort of the case right now. The question isn't whether UMG will misuse your data today. It's whether the long-term incentive structure still aligns with your label's independence. Will they value you as much as you were valued as an independent? Why switching is harder than it sounds. Even labels concerned about the acquisition may hesitate to move. Switching distributors is not like switching software. It carries real risks, such as the catalog, your music. It's tied to metadata, ISRCs, UPC codes, algorithmic history on DSPs. So migrating from one service out of the corporate ecosystem isn't just a file transfer. Takedown and re-upload risks could wipe out streaming counts and playlist placements. The algorithm doesn't know your new upload is the same song. So Content ID will conflict during migration periods, and it can flag your own music as infringing against your previous uploads, leading to temporary revenue loss. Contractual lock-in periods and notice requirements may delay your exit by months. So now's a good time to go back and revisit your contract. Many labels will stay simply because switching feels too risky. This is called the stickiness trap. Platforms like UMG that are hard to leave, in other words, they own you, have less incentive to compete on service. So indies could prosper. This could be a good thing if UMG provides good service. It has all the tools and machinery that could elevate indies to a new level, or they may allow newly acquired indies to wither on the vine as the big three simply remove competition to the artists that they have already signed. And I think this all ties into the AI agreement between the corporate music giants and Spotify and the creation of the new DDEX standard. It's all connected. So the next podcast, part 2, will deal with the new agreement between Spotify and the 3 major record labels and their strategy on taking control of the whole music ecosystem. Indie washing. So be sure and check out part 2, and then after that, part 3. Appreciate you watching. Please hit the like button and thumbs up and make comments and share this. Bye.